Welcome back. Week in one on ENCA, and apartheid-era Foreign Affairs Minister Pik Botha has died. His son Roelof Botha confirming that he passed away at his home after a long illness. He was 86 years old. Botha was admitted to hospital in September. He was born in April 1932 and started in the Foreign Affairs Department in 1953. In April 1977, he was appointed Minister of Foreign Affairs. He was also Minister of Energy Affairs in 1994. He resigned in 1996. Now, the current International Relations and Cooperation Minister, Lindiwe Sisulu, says they haven't been approached for aid to Zimbabwe just yet. Our northern neighbour's economy is in the doldrums, with the country suffering severe shortages of food, medicine and fuel. Sisulu briefing in Pretoria on a number of international issues, including her recent trip to the United Nations. Kailihli Kumalo has more.
We would not be able to go to Zimbabwe and say, here's a bag of whatever and you will have it. I think international relations depend on reciprocity. We wish the people of Zimbabwe well. It's a country that we regard as a friend, and we would like some stability there. We would like the economic reforms that have been put in place to succeed there.
Pretoria says there has been no approach as yet for financial assistance from Harare. Zimbabwe's new administration recently announced a stabilization plan which has clearly backfired. There are reports that President Emmerson Mnangagwa insists its multi-currency system will remain in place. Zimbabwe abandoned its currency in 2009. Another issue here at home that refuses to go away is the land reform process. Investors sought clarity around it during the recent United Nations General Assembly in New York. Sisulu maintains that land reform will be guided by the Constitution.
It has taken us 24 years, stuck on an ideal, a constitutional requirement. In any country, that which is in the Constitution is a requirement that we are expected to fulfill. We, as a South African government, have failed to fulfill one of the most basic constitutional requirements, which is to give land to those people whose land was taken away forcefully and who might need the land and who would bring it under productive use. This is what we are now doing. And we have used every opportunity to explain this.
On another matter, the elections in the Democratic Republic of Congo are an issue for the SADC region. The December polls will be the first not to be contested by incumbent President Joseph Kabila, who has been perceived as a stumbling block.
We would like the people of DRC to have a free and fair election. We as South Africans have put a great deal of effort into creating the kind of environment that has made the DRC a safe place for a very long time. There have of late been sporadic problems in Kivu and other places, but President Kabila did brief us at the organ about the fact that Eastern Congo does have its flare-ups from time to time.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa will be heading to Kinshasa, but Pretoria stands ready to offer any assistance to ensure that the December 23rd polls are successful in the DRC. Kailihli Kumalo, Pretoria.
A global conference on combating the illegal wildlife trade taking place in the United Kingdom this past week. Thousands of delegates from around the world renewing commitment to tackling the organised crime. More on that story from UK correspondent Natalie Powell.
A global challenge faced by a global community. That's the message from royalty, world leaders and high-level delegates about the illegal wildlife trade. They say if it isn't stamped out soon, there will be severe consequences.
It is heartbreaking to think that by the time my children, George, Charlotte and Louis, are in their 20s, elephants, rhinos and tigers might well be extinct in the wild. I, for one, I'm not willing to look my children in the eye and say that we were the generation that let this happen on our watch.
The illegal wildlife trade is estimated to be worth around 330 billion rand a year, and cracking down on illegal financial flows and corruption is one of the big talking points here. But are conferences like this just talk? We put that to the Acting Minister of Environmental Affairs.
The pledges that are made, the commitment, and you go home and you have to honour those commitments. So, you know, many people think of these conferences as talk shops. They are far more than talk shops, believe me.
And will you honour those commitments that are made?
Of course we will, and we'll even go beyond our commitments, and we're doing it. So these are not new commitments for us. I think we're sharing, by the way, some of our success stories with the world. We have 80% of the world's rhino in South Africa. They've really been hammered by poaching and trafficking of rhino horn, but we are getting on top of the battle. And so we've seen in the last few years significant decline in poaching numbers because of an integrated and holistic approach in our country and because of the international collaborations.
The threat to species is just part of the battle. Poaching also has a negative impact on economies, particularly in Africa. According to international think tank Chatham House, it deprives local economies of natural resources and damages sustainable development.
And it's about acknowledging that this is tied in together and that illegal wildlife trade isn't just about stopping the poaching for the sake of it. It's about acknowledging that this has a severe economic implication if you let it carry on.
And reducing market demand for illegal wildlife products will be key to stemming the problem. The illegal wildlife trade is the fourth biggest transnational crime after drugs, weapons and human trafficking. And while this event will shine a spotlight on the issue, it will now be up to governments to follow through on commitments made here, as well as work collaboratively with other governments, charities and indeed conservation projects to put an end to this international crime. Natalie Powell, London.
And we'll end Week in One where we started with a story on the new Finance Minister, Tito Mboweni. Shasha was trending all over Twitter, and this is why.
Now raise your right hand and say, please help me God.
So help me God.
His name is Tito Mboweni. He's our new Finance Minister, and South Africans have these two words to welcome him. Some took to Twitter saying they wish the president had said when he introduced Mboweni, while others believe Parliament should introduce entrance songs for speakers. That's because in 2017, Casper Nyovest released a song with the title Tito Mboweni, obviously about money and making it big in the world. Millennials may only know of former Reserve Bank Governor Mboweni through that catchy hip-hop song. But that's about to change. And it seems the minister may be able to use the song and this picture where it seems he's about to pull a dab to connect with the younger generation. Mponakana, Johannesburg.
I'm Jeremy Maggs. That was your Week in One. Until next time, goodbye to you and thank you for watching.